What I hate about bottling things up is that there will come a day when it will all unravel. I have hoped that the day will come at a later stage when I am ready to deal with this. But now I have to face what happened to my once beautiful family. It sucks that just a couple of months ago, my younger brother was getting married. Now he does not even speak to me, and I have him blocked everywhere. My wife has been telling me to reach out to him and fix things. She does not understand that it is not possible to fix what my brother did. What he did is unforgivable. My mother must be rolling in his grave, seeing how he has destroyed our family like this. What shocks me is that with recent events, my stepfather is also urging me to speak to my brother. I get it. He has a soft spot for his son, but how can he forgive such humiliation? My wife is also telling me to consider giving my brother grace and checking up on him because his actions have backfired on him. When my brother called me a couple of nights ago, I thought I was dreaming. I never thought I would hear from him again after the harsh words we exchanged right before we got married. The last thing I said to him was not to come running to me when that marriage failed. Guess what? He ran to me and not to ask for help, but to blame me for what happened. The first thing my brother said to me after I picked up the call was, "I hope you are happy now." I was very confused due to the hurt and hopelessness in his voice. When I asked him to explain, he said that, ever since my words at the wedding, he has not been okay. It is like I cursed his marriage way before it started by saying that he would never be happy. I laughed and reminded him that he cursed his marriage when he allowed her to hurt his family like that. The sooner he realized she was a manipulative liar, the better for him. He asked why I still hated her like that when she had been nothing but good to me. I told him that there was nothing nice about her. It was all a facade because I was the closest to him. Those words I said haunted him because they were the truth. They did not have peace in their marriage because it was built on tears. They did not have the blessing of a single member of the family. So, how did they expect to be happy? He told me that they could not be happy because they were now divorced. It had been 3 months since they divorced, and he had been fighting with himself not to call me and tell me exactly what he thought of me. It was then that I paid attention to his tone and inflection. There was no denying it. My brother was inebriated and not thinking straight. I told him to call me when he was sober, and would actually appreciate how I saved him. The reason they failed was that her true colors came out. I was sure of it. It was better for them to divorce within 3 months than after several years. What if they had kids? The poor kids would be affected by the divorce, and it would be messy. At least now he could apologize to the family, and we would find a way forward. We might as well have been speaking a different language, because he did not want to reconcile with the family. He said he hated us and blamed us for the loss of the love of his life. If anything happened to him, then it would be on us. With that, he hung up, leaving me shaken. A second later, I fell apart. A whole 32-year-old man crumbled on the floor and cried like a baby because of the weight of everything. It was hitting me then that my relationship with my brother was damaged beyond repair. My brother had been my best friend since I was 4 years old, and Mom brought him from the hospital. My mother and his dad met through my father's passing. She was left with a lot of debt, and he was one of my father's close friends. He took us in and became like a father to me. A couple of years later, they got married and had my brother. He already had a daughter who was 2 years older than me at the time. Jay, our sister Caroline, and I were so close. One would never know that I was half related to Jay and not related to Caroline at all. It has always been just the three of us, but now Jay hates us. Everything that happened leading up to the wedding, my stepfather's broken-hearted face, and Caroline's tears all flashed across my mind. My wife must have heard me, because she came upstairs shortly after to console me. When I was feeling better, I asked her a question. Was this the man that she wanted me to forgive? A selfish man who still blamed me after the marriage did not work out with the succubus he married. My wife tried to comfort me, but you could tell she was at a loss for words. The next day, she handed me a pamphlet for a therapist. She told me that she was not going to watch me become a shadow of myself because of what happened. It was time for me to face it and return to being the man she loved. Normally, I fight her when she mentions therapy because I do not believe in it. There is nothing a good gym session cannot fix, in my opinion. However, that morning, I did not protest, and I actually considered attending one session. I was very downcast for the rest of the day, but my mood lightened when my dad— I am going to refer to my stepdad as dad from now on, because he is like a dad to me— called me. However, his reason for calling only made my mood sour. He told me that my brother was in a very bad state and needed me. My brother lives on the other side of the country, by the way. If I were to see him, then I would have to go on a weekend or take some leave days. Normally, I would have done anything for him. But at this moment, I did not feel like doing anything for him. It did not feel like he deserved any of my effort or energy. I told my brother that if he wanted, he could check on him, but I would do no such thing. He told me that my brother refused to speak to him. He had actually heard about my brother's bad state from an old colleague of mine who was present when my brother made a scene at a restaurant. Besides, Jay and I were close, and he was more likely to listen to me. He told me that he was willing to beg and do anything for me to check on my brother. The last thing he wanted was for Jay to turn into someone unrecognizable because of that woman. When he said that, my heart actually ached. I cursed the day that Jenny walked into my brother's life. When I first saw her, I was fooled into thinking my brother had found his better half. I was so happy for him when they got engaged, but soon my feelings changed. Now I wish my brother had never crossed paths with that bloodsucker. I know it is extreme to have such opinions of her, but you have no idea how bad she is. My father's words are playing over and over in my mind, and honestly, I am considering reaching out to my brother. While he might still hate me, she is out of his life now. I am sure that we can get him to heal and see the truth. Clearly, she has warped his mind, turned him into something else, then cast him aside like one last cursed gift to us. I am sure she is very happy with herself, because now we are left to pick up the pieces. I still have to decide, but I have been looking at flights to his city. However, I am scared because I do not know what I will find there. What if he refuses help and kicks me out? What do I do then? How do I deal with the complex emotions I am sure will come out? I do not want to bottle them up again. Look how that worked out for me already. A week later, I have decided to put on my big boy pants and go see my brother. I saw him this weekend and the visit was very eventful. It did not turn out the way I thought it would at all. When I booked that flight, I could not believe it. I was actually going to see him. My wife was very happy that I was making progress, and even said that hopefully I would also consider her therapy idea. I told her that I was grateful for the suggestion, but it was not something for me. I arrived in his town in the afternoon and soon showed up at his house. Finding his house was not hard since he lived in a small town, and I just had to ask around. Despite us not having the same father, we look very similar, and most people are not shocked when I tell them we are brothers. It was midday when I arrived at the house. After knocking for a while, he opened for me. He expressed shock upon seeing me, but ushered me into the house. He told me to stay in the living room because he was working. This puzzled me because he was actually swaying. There was no way that he was getting any work done in that state. Either way, I sat in the living room for a while, and then I needed to use the bathroom. When I came out, he pulled me into the office and asked me what the hell I was doing at his house. If it was about the call he made, then I had to forget it. He just needed some time alone so that he could deal with his feelings. He smelled like he had drunk a whole brewery, and the coffee on his desk looked very suspicious. When I took the cup and sniffed it, my suspicions were confirmed. By the way, the meeting was still going while we were speaking, but he had muted himself. I asked if getting things under control was working while under the influence. It was barely midday and he was already in a stupor. His eyes were unfocused and he was barely standing. Did he want to lose his job over this? One second, he was calm, and the next he was pissed, telling me to get the hell out of his house. There was no way he was going to allow me to act holier than thou in his house. This sparked a very intense argument, where I told him that he had issues and needed to be checked into rehab. He started swearing at me and telling me to go back home. I was backed up by his computer at this time, and he was pacing around the room. He was saying that he was going to fight me if he needed to. With his back turned to me, I unmuted the microphone and let him go off on me. The call went quiet as everyone listened to him, literally ranting about everything and saying how the bottle was his only friend. Gosh, it was a lot. But eventually, he noticed that something was wrong and pushed me from the computer. He left the call, but the damage was done. He told me to leave his house before I left in an ambulance, and I complied. I slept at a motel for a night, then went back home. When I got home, he had sent me a message thanking me, because now his workplace had organized an intervention. He nearly lost his job because of my stupid actions. At least he is getting help, even if I had to do something so drastic. Speaking of, I have also decided to get therapy. I do not want to end up like my brother. I need to get better so I can save him. Update 2. 2 months later. Turns out that ruining my brother's life was the thing that saved him. I got off the phone with me, and he has just thanked me for slapping him figuratively back into reality. He says that he is doing so much better now thanks to the intervention. My heart is so warm after this phone call. I cannot believe that he is getting his life back after what Jenny did to him. After I exposed him for having issues, his workplace gave him a warning and required that he get help. He was very angry and in denial in the beginning. I was shocked that he did not block me. Then one day he told me that he would be sending me progress updates. If I determined that he was not ready, then he could not get back to work. He said that his manager had made that a requirement for him returning to work full-time. So, over the past couple of weeks, he has sent me updates, and I have visited him a few times. The first couple of times were very weird because of how we left things. However, we ended up being cordial with each other. He followed all the necessary steps and made surprisingly good progress. The one thing I love about my brother is how he puts his all into important things. I missed seeing him so determined. It is like that spark went out when he married Jenny, but now it was back, and he seemed determined to get his life back on track. Today, he called to let me know that he had just gotten his 1-month chip and was going strong. In addition to that, he was going back to work full-time on Monday. Furthermore, he is having our sister and dad over in a couple of weeks. He wants to properly apologize for uninviting them from the wedding at his ex-wife's request. When his ex-wife became a bridezilla, and our sister called her out on it, she uninvited her from the wedding. My father confronted her due to the hurtful things she said, and she uninvited him too. When he asked my brother about it, he stood by his wife. He told our sister and dad to dance to Jenny's tune or not attend the wedding. So, they decided not to attend the wedding. When we had his bachelor party, he dropped the news on me, and I was not happy at all. I told him to make peace between everyone. If he did not have his family at his wedding, he was going to regret it for the rest of his life. My brother chose not to listen to me and threatened to also uninvite me. I told him not to bother because I quit being his best man. I left in the middle of his bachelor party after exchanging some very harsh and hurtful words. Ever since then, things have not been okay with us. However, I think that we will reconcile again with the way that everything is going. I am just glad that he is choosing to make peace with our sister and father. Dad has been so happy with the progress that his son is making. I am sure beyond any doubt that he will forgive my brother, and everything is going to be all right. In other happy news, I have been going to therapy, and it has been helping. It made me realize the number of heavy feelings that I was holding on to. I do not want to hold on to that anymore. I have decided to forgive my brother and even Jenny. She was very controlling and she changed him. That is her problem. I am not going to have sleepless nights due to how much I hate her anymore. She is going to get what is coming to her one day. What matters is that she is out of my brother's life, and he is no longer talking about how he wants her back. In the days after that fight, all he could speak about was how he wanted her back. He said that he was a wreck, and it was all my fault for making her feel unwelcome. He was mean to her because he resented her for our not being at the wedding. It was so sad to watch my brother spiraling like that. But in the end, the messages changed. I am sure that with time his heart is going to heal and he will find someone much better than that. I have learned from therapy that some people are brought into your life as a lesson. You are not meant to end up with them or lament over how they hurt you. You are meant to use that as an example of what you do not need. Update 3. 6 weeks later. I did not know that things could fall apart just as quickly as they come together. I had false hope and now it is crushed. I am so lost right now and I do not know what to do. I blame myself for not checking in on him more and making sure that he was okay. Why did I stop the visits? I would have seen signs of what was to come and stopped it before everything was ruined. I am so angry at myself right now. Where do I even start? Everything was going well for my brother, but we did not talk as much. I also did not get a chance to visit in the past couple of weeks due to being busy with my personal life. Either way, our family was getting along and testing in the family group chat. Then one day, my sister called me in the middle of the night and she was freaking out. She told me to check my brother's page. She thought he had been hacked by that crazy woman. There was no way that he would write such a post. I immediately checked his page and what I saw made my blood run cold. My brother had posted a recent-looking picture with his ex and captured it "Forever yours." I hung up and immediately called him, but my call did not go through. The next morning, I found that I had been blocked everywhere without an explanation. The same had been done to my wife. I used a friend's phone to check his account and saw that he had just updated his relationship status. He was back with Jenny. I was utterly flabbergasted because I did not see it coming. He had been doing so well, but she wormed her way back into his life. My father and sister instantly booked a flight to go see my brother, but I decided not to go. I decided to protect my peace due to being tired. If he wanted to ruin his life, then who was I to stop him? When my sister and father came back, they had also given up. They told me that Jenny had caused a scene and threatened to call the cops on them. My brother refused to even come out of the house and speak to them. Eventually, he told them to their face that he was happy with her and wanted nothing to do with them. They felt she was manipulating him, but there was nothing to be done at this point. Clearly, they had been back together for a while and he was hiding it from us. It was honestly very disappointing, but nothing else could be done. We decided to leave him alone and hope that he came back to his senses. Then I got another call in the middle of the night that changed the trajectory of my life forever. My brother had been arrested for nearly unaliving Jenny. She was in the hospital and badly hurt. I got no more information than that and had to fly down to get the full story. What I was told chilled me to the bone. 48 hours after the incident, my brother was still in a psychotic state and nothing was sobering him up. Tests had shown that he had multiple substances in his system. It was believed he was in substance-induced psychosis. There was hope that he could come out of it, but only time would tell. I was shattered by the news. I always said that woman was bad news, and she would drive him to his ruin. Now she is fighting for her life, and he might never be the same. It has been 3 days now, and he is still not okay. I'm going to stay here for a while until there is an update. I am praying that he comes out of this unscathed. Final update 4 months later. Before I say anything else, I just want to thank you all for the kind words you have sent my family's way. I was not sure if I was going to be able to post an update, because unfortunately, there is no happy ending. However, my family has given me the strength to write this post and finally accept reality. My brother, as I know him, is no more. As we speak, he is in a psych hospital due to substance-induced psychosis. He has not come out of it, and it is believed this is going to be permanent. The court ruled that he was mentally unfit to stand trial and recommended that he be put in a facility. They also ruled that all his assets be put in my name, because I was the one who helped him the first time he struggled with substances. This was much to the chagrin of my sister-in-law, who wanted everything to be put in her name. She claimed that my brother had expressed wanting to get married to her again. However, the judge did not see that as an adequate reason, especially after the neighbor's testimony. According to the neighbor, Jenny had been shouting at Jay all week. It was always her voice screaming, while Jay never said anything. On the night that the incident happened, she had been going at it for hours and had even broken things. Jay left and came back, crashing into a pole. Someone called the cops, but he did not stick around. Instead, he went into the house, and that was when she started crying. I have never known my brother to be capable of such violence. I cannot even bring myself to describe just how badly he hurt Jenny. When the cops came, he did not stop and ended up fighting with them. They had to call for backup due to how strong he was. They eventually arrested him and brought him to the station. At first, they thought he was drunk, but something seemed very wrong. When they put him in the holding cell, he attacked another person. That was when they had to put him in a cell alone. He was still very loud and had to be sedated. Blood tests revealed he had a lot of substances in his body, to the point where he was lucky to even be alive. Jenny came out of the hospital days later and pressed charges, but the case could not go on. Something had gone very wrong in my brother's brain, and time could not undo it. He had literally been driven to the point of madness. I refused to accept that the brother I knew was gone. Our entire family refused to accept it and tried to get second opinions, but we got the same result. We were told that only time would tell if he would get better or not. However, due to how badly his mental state was altered, it was unlikely. I have not given up hope and will continue to find ways to help him. I made sure he was put in a hospital in our state so that we can see him as often as possible. You best believe that as soon as he gets better, I am getting him out of there. I am so heartbroken by what has happened, and I am trying so hard not to blame myself. I know that there was nothing I could have done to stop this. He chose to go back with her and stay despite the relationship being toxic. Now Jenny is permanently scarred because she could not leave him in peace. I said that woman would be the ruin of him. I just did not know it would get to this point. Sadly, such a brilliant mind has been scrambled to the point of madness. Why do such things happen in this world? It makes me question the existence of a higher power, but that is a story for another day.